Today's guest is the founder of Vibrant Living International. She's a life mastery coach, an ordained minister, host of You Were Designed for Greatness podcast, and author of 4 books. Welcome to the show, Donna. How are you doing?
I am doing amazing. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you so much. I am super excited to be having you right now on this podcast to talk about different amazing things that you've done and different amazing things that you are doing, to transform other people's lives. So I'm doing fine. I'm doing great. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Mirror Talk. I would just love us to start with you. Like, you have been married for over 38 years. You're a mother of 3 and also a grandmother of 8. Can you tell us about your life story? Like, you have been speaking and coaching for over 25 years. So can you just share a bit about your life journey so far? What inspired you to become a life mastery coach?
I was always the girl that people were talking to and saying, I can't believe I was telling you this.
Resume. All right. So
I was always the girl that people were talking to and telling me things to be able to help them through things. They would say things like, I can't believe I'm telling you this. I've never told anyone this, that kind of things as I was younger and my children were younger. That was just something that was always happening. So I gravitated in all the different organizations and things that I belonged to in some type of mentoring role. And being able to help people overcome life's adversities. And so that is how I got started. It was just something I innately loved to do and was good at, and being able to help people. So my life journey is I'm an entrepreneur. My husband and I have had our own different businesses for years, and while raising our children. And also now, as our children are grown and married and we have grandchildren, we are still doing those kinds of things. So I think visionary and love to help people see the same.
Yes, that's so beautiful. And one of your vision, one way you help other people is to turn their baggage into luggage. So yes. I would love you to advise us in this regards. Like, how can we, rise above our painful past, let go of those baggages, or turn those baggages into luggages, heal from our scars, and live that life that we have always dreamed of?
Well, a little bit to tell you where I came up with the turn your baggage into luggage.
Yes.
Anytime someone is a coach, I've heard the saying now is that you had to overcome your own baggage. That there was something that happened in your life as well. And just to briefly touch on it, at the age of 14, someone that I knew hurt me and I became pregnant. So I was a mom at 15. And so there was a lot. To say that those days were hard, it doesn't cut it. And so learning how to overcome that is one of the overcome the situation, the mindset, the labels, all of that was placed on me to be able to be who I am today is some of the things I've learned. So one of the keys that I have learned is I call it building our understanding superpower. And it's coming from the perspective that I can use whatever happens in my life to grow and become better. It's looking for the growth point, looking for the gift, if you will, in those kinds of situations. Baggage thinking that's not fair. That's not just. This is just wrong. And maybe even someone needs to pay. I thought all those things. I felt all those things. But when we stay in that place of that kind of thinking, it's baggage and we stay stuck there. We camp out there. Where luggage thinking, on the other hand, is I can't change this. It's happened, but I am going to use it to grow and become the best me I can be. and perhaps even help others through their own problems. I call these situations gift wrapped in sandpaper. They rub us the wrong way. They are not fun, but we can utilize what we learn through those situations to grow and become. Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course it makes sense. But I believe that it is very difficult for us to, use those painful experiences. But like from your own story, from getting pregnant at the age of 14, giving birth at the age of 15, how are you able to let go of those trauma? How are you able to heal through, those hurtful experiences?
Oh, it was just snap. No,
I don't believe that.
No, it wasn't at all.
Mm.
Oh, it is a process to be able to learn and grow through and heal through those kind of situations. But I have 4 steps that I talk about with myself to build my understanding superpower. The first is begin to look for the gift when you're in the pain, when you're in that kind of disappointment, the adversity, whatever it may be that are listening today that you're facing, is begin to just look for the gift. The idea of looking for the gift shifts our perspective. We quit focusing on the problem when we start focusing on how we're going to learn, grow, and move through this, as opposed to staying focused on the pain point and how unfair this was or how wrong this was and all of that. So that's number 1. Number 2 is keep a bigger picture in mind. As if when I look for the gift, I'm lifting my eyes, if you will, off of my shoes, off of the floor, off the ground, and begin to look up and say, this is not a forever thing. I am going to let this be a chapter in my life, or a paragraph, or a page, but not my whole entire life. And so you begin to think visionary of longer term, that this won't be forever. Number 3 is a really big one. It's having compassion for others, walking in other people's shoes, and even forgiveness. Without forgiveness, we will stay stuck in it. And I like to call, I'm probably not the one who originated this, but I like to call unforgiveness is when I'm drinking poison and hoping the other person will die.
Yeah.
It hurts me. It does not hurt them. And so the sooner I can learn how to move through forgiveness, and that's a big portion of what I do when I coach people, is how do I do this? You don't know what they did to me, etc. So number 3 is compassion and forgiveness. And number 4 is getting support and help. We aren't meant to do this alone. In fact, if we just rehearse it over and over in our own minds, we don't really get out of it. We just look at it all different ways. You can't move through something with the same level of thinking that happened when we were created the issues that we're in. So learning how to upscale and see things from new perspectives. So get support, a counselor, a coach, get someone to help you through it. And so that we can be all that God created us to be.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah. And do you provide this kind of service, like coaching services for people who are going through difficult situation? Do you help them transform their lives into something that they wish they could have or they should have?
Absolutely. We're really good at stuffing it and pretending, I'm fine. I'm doing fine. And, we say we're okay when we're really not okay. So learning to help people to actually really be amazing and live vibrantly is what I love to do.
Yes, that's good. And that's it. The name of your company, your non-profit, foundation, organization, Vibrant Living Organization. That's so. Oh, sorry, Vibrant Living International. That's a wonderful name. So can you share a little bit more on what you do in your organization and how can people out there or listeners profit from it?
Well, I have coaching programs that are available for people if they need some support and want to have an amazing life. So turn your baggage into luggage is usually where people start to be able to process what's happened in their life. And then my next program is called Life by Design, not by Default. and helping them to actually, now that I've got my baggage repacked into luggage, how do I create the life I want? How do I create the life I love? And being able to do that is what that next program is about. So I support people in that way. Free resources that are available is I have some free books as well as a podcast. I do blogs and videos all the time on my YouTube channel, etc., that are available as a resource to help people to grow. But one of the main keys, I mean, I've read lots of self-help books and watched lots of videos and been to lots of conferences, but there was nothing that made the difference in my life that coaching actually did. So it's the combination of having some person who is intentionally speaking just to you that makes all the difference.
Yes, I believe that all of this information is available in on your website, basically, and that is iVibrantLiving.com. The link is going to be placed in the show notes of this episode, so I encourage everyone to just click on the link, copy the link, and get across to Donna and sign up for the courses and just transform your life, basically. So, inspired by your second course where you have this life by design, I want to ask a follow-up question to that. Like, before we design our lives, can we get some clarity on our dreams and goals? Are there ways we can find clarity for our dreams and goals?
It's pretty simple, but we have a hard time doing it. Is if you could create the life you love, what would it look like? And what would it look like in different areas of your life? Because that's a really broad statement. It's like, what would I like my relationships to look like? What would I like my health to look like? What would I, different areas of your life is what would you love? And begin to write down what you would love. From there, I can show you how to get it. But that's the first step is actually, because most people, when I ask them what they want, they can tell me what they don't want. I don't want this and I don't want that. And I don't, but it seems to be hard sometimes to transition to what you actually do want. So that's the first step.
Yes. So the follow-up steps are going to be found out when we attend your courses, or can you share some of this? Can you share some of the follow-up courses and steps also with us? Yeah.
Well, it isn't a short conversation, which is one of the reasons why I didn't go further with that, because it's individual to what people are going through. But the first step is really to write down with no limitations. If you could have what you wanted, what would it look like? Then one step that you can take is like, what is one baby step that I could take in the direction of what I want? Because it's usually too big. If your dream is really real, you can't really do it on your own. If I could do it on my own, I already would have done it.
Yeah, true. Yes.
So it needs help from God. It needs help from other people and support. It needs new levels of thinking to get there. But what is one baby step I could take today? What's one thing I could do? Now, for me, when I eventually launched Vibrant Living International, I was at a very low place. I had lost a job and I was feeling lost and down. And, anytime you lose a job, it just affects you. True. And I asked that question, what is one thing I could do? And so I went back to school to get more coaching certifications to be able to help myself to be even better than I was. Now I had lost a job. I didn't have the money to invest in a coach in school, but I did. I did it anyway. So I took one step going, I don't know how this is all going to work out, but I'm going to do this. So ask yourself, what's one step? So for you, what's a goal you have, Toby?
My goal is to impact the lives of more people through this podcast. That's one goal I have. Yeah.
Okay. And is there anything else that you could do to make a step in that direction?
Yes, I can work on, improving, my social media outreach, for example.
There you go.
Yeah.
Just stepped into coaching a little bit. Sorry.
Yeah, it's perfect. I love it. That's good. Yeah.
And it's really as simple as that. What's one thing I could do? Okay, so then I could improve my social media. That's a pretty broad statement too.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Okay, so what's one thing you could do in that?
Mm. I can work on my,
What's one platform? What's
yeah,
one platform that you want to focus on today?
yes.
What would it be?
I would say my website is a platform I will focus
Okay.
on. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to do one thing to my website. Do
Mm.
you see? And that's the way you break it down, is because we get overwhelmed by the bigness of
Yeah,
what we see.
that's true.
And then social media is still a big thing. So it's like, what is it? What is a little bit less that in breaking it down till I'm doing one step today?
Mhm.
Because 1% every day, you will not believe where you are next year.
True.
And we try to do 100% today, and it stops us
Mhm.
from taking a step forward. Where if I just do 1%, what is the little thing I can do today? You will not believe the difference it will make in a short period of time.
Yes, that's true. Wow, that's the compound effects here to it. Yeah, taking 1%, one baby step each day. Yeah, yeah. Oh,
Absolutely.
I love that. So now, if we are taking that baby step every day, how can we now design the life that we really want for ourselves and not just live by default?
Uh, well, when in the program that I have, I will be having some free workshops coming up that will go more into depth. But in the workshop I have, I
Yeah.
teach about 6 and 8 gifts that we have, and also 13 laws of the spirit that we can cooperate with. And
Mhm.
they're working all the time. It's kind of like if we were to say the law of gravity is there
Mhm.
and I ignore it and I try to jump out of a tree, I'm going to hurt myself.
Yeah.
It's the laws and gifts are there, but unless we know how to use them to their best ability, they end up not really working well for us.
Mhm.
And one of the ones that you've heard of before is intuition. But how do we use intuition to the fullest capacity so that it can help us to be the best us and achieve our dreams rather than living by default, if you will? If you can imagine, learning how to use intuition is like, you probably don't remember computers before they were connected to the internet, but that was a thing. There used to be computers
Yeah.
that were not connected to the internet, and you had to install programs onto them from disk. So that's how life is, not using our intuition. It's just whatever's been installed to us, installed into our computer in our mind over our lifetime, is all we've got to work with.
Hmm.
When you begin to use your intuition, it's like plugging that into the internet. There is unlimited resources that are available when we learn how to use intuition to the fullest capacity. That's the kind of stuff that I go into and teach. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yes, I can. I'm getting an aha moment from that. Like, intuition is the internet of the mind. Once you connect into the internet, you have unlimited resources for your mind. Wow.
It connects you to the spirit, and you have unlimited resources. So absolutely right. But we have to learn how to use it, because
Mm,
most of us kind of get hunches now and then or kind of know how to use it. But overall, we look at logic as from our past experience, and it overrides what intuition is telling us.
yes, that's true. And that's a big question too. Like, how do we use the resources that's are made available to us? Like now, I have access to millions of resources. How do I manage them? How do I make use of them effectively? Well,
What resources are we referring to?
so I'm referring to, for example, like the books that I've read, for example, or the like coaching programs, like I've attended a
Mhm.
service or like a course from Vibrant Living International.
Mhm.
I've attended the class, I've gotten some information. How do I now go ahead and you make use of this information to actually transform and change my life?
Well, one of the main things that happens when we attend any kind of workshop
Mm,
is that we resonate, we acknowledge, yeah, that's really great. That's really
mm,
great information. And then we walk away and never think about it again.
mm,
And so instead of doing that, like when I read a book that I'm wanting to learn from, I take notes and then I go back and reread my notes on
yeah.
a regular basis. What was the highlights? What is something I can implement today? What is something that I want to glean? It's not just information. It's what action can I take from that information? Because other than that, I'm just getting a lot of information and I'm really not doing anything to make any changes in my life.
Yeah.
So it's asking yourself, what's one thing I could do today? But then it's really good to have a coach to be accountable who says, Toby, did you fix your website?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And I'm going to be talking next week, I'm going to be talking to Donna and she's going to ask me, did you fix your website? And did you do anything on it? And you're like, no. And you're going to ask me. So you do it.
Yes.
It's that accountability that's there too, to be able to help us do what we really want to do.
Yeah.
But for some reason, without the support, sometimes we don't.
That's true. We need that motivation sometimes. Yes, that's true.
Yep.
And talking about, unlimited resources, which you have amazing number of them. You have this book titled The Key to Transform Your Life. Mm-hmm. So from this book, can you, advise us on how we could transform our lives?
Get the book. Will be the first one.
Yeah.
Get the book.
Yes.
But the book is about the power of our words. Mm-hmm. And it has in it 30 days of daily affirmations that you can say to be able to impact your life. Yeah. So it's not like a boring mantra or statement. Every day you have something new. And then you can highlight and resonate with ones that really resonate with your heart and say them continually. The words that you speak will transform your life because you can't speak something and think something different. I can't think I'm a failure and speak everything I put my hand to prospers.
That's true. Yeah.
I can't. So it's learning to change the words that we speak. It's talking about why I go into why is it important? And then I give you resources to be able to do it and implement it.
Yes. So we have to have that, positive affirmation and know the importance and how powerful the words of our mouths are, basically. And that we were able to transform our lives also. Yes. Yeah. Sometimes we wish that, that we could have a much more organized life. We could be much more confident, or we could handle stress better than ever. So can you teach us, you're a coach, you have experience with this. Can you teach us how we could be much more organized with our life, how we could handle stress and tension better, and how we can be confident in this world?
You just want me to fix everything, right?
Yes, please.
Well, that was a lot of requests. So how could we be more organized? How can you be more organized is what I mentioned before, is what are your goals? What are your dreams? And what is the one thing I can do today? Yeah. And just doing that, it helps me to eliminate everything else. What's the main priority that I need to do at this moment? And eliminating all else, because we can not do anything because the list is so long.
True.
So that would be the first step is what's the one thing I can do today? You mentioned confidence.
Yes.
And somehow we tend to believe confidence is just something people just magically feel. It's like some people are confident and some people are not.
Yeah.
Would you like to know the secret?
Yes, please.
The secret is confidence isn't something you magically feel. Confidence is something that you build over time as you learn and improve in an area. Toby, are you more confident with your podcast today than when you started?
Yes, much confident than ever. Yeah.
And so it is something, you weren't super confident when you started. No. Because you'd never done this before.
Exactly.
And so confidence is something you build over time. And when we can grasp that concept, it gives us grace and to deal kindly with ourselves as we're learning. That anytime you're going to do something new, you're going to have to learn how and build confidence in doing that. So that's how you can increase in confidence. You mentioned stress.
Yes.
And overwhelm. I want to see if I can hit all of the things that you said in that really long sentence. Overwhelm. I was calling my coach one day and I was probably, I believe I was crying. I'm like, I'm just worried, I'm feeling overwhelmed was basically. And she said, very matter of factly, Donna, do you realize when you are in overwhelm that you are picturing it not working?
Mm. Oh.
And I'm like, what? She says, when you are in overwhelm inside your mind and your thoughts, you are picturing whatever you're overwhelmed about, it not working out. You are picturing yourself failing. Yeah. And I hadn't gotten that before. And so I need to change my declarations, change my thoughts. And when I do that, the overwhelm will lift. As I begin to focus on what I want to happen, not what I'm afraid will happen, overwhelm will lift.
Wow.
That's worth price of the ticket.
Yeah, yes. So we have to focus on the bright side, focus on the positive part of it all. Yeah.
Yes.
Wow, I love that. That's so good. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's so awesome. And I love the fact that, my coach as a coach, like you are a coach and you have a coach also. That's wonderful. Yeah, yes. Because we all need that support system, basically.
Absolutely. Do not hire a coach that doesn't have a coach.
Yeah, that's not so good. Yes.
No, that's not so good.
Yes. So, your nonprofit organization, Vibrant Living International, once again, helps people live to their fullest potential. And that's so lovely. So I want you to fix this also for me. How can we live to our fullest potential?
Well, that's a little bit different. The reason why we're not for different people. Why do you think you're not living to your fullest potential?
It's because sometimes we believe, I believe that, I can do more than I am doing right now. Like there's more in me than what I'm giving out. That way I believe. Yeah, yes.
But would you say that every day you actually give 100% of what you're capable of during that day?
That's a good question. Sometimes I feel like I give less than 100%. And sometimes I do give 100%. Yeah.
And I ask that is we often are hard on ourselves, those kind of statements. But I ask that because let's say you're feeling down that day.
Yeah.
But you still give 100% of what you were able to that day. You see what I mean? It's like, it may not be what you think you should do, but you are actually giving 100% of what you are able to. Like if you're ill or sad or something happened, somebody tragedy, something happened, you're still giving 100%. So we never do more by judging ourselves. One of the statements that we don't realize is whatever behavior we judge, we will repeat. We will retain it, if you will. So if I'll use food because it's kind of easy. If you want to give up ice cream, and every time you eat ice cream, you're like, oh, I'm eating ice cream again. Why am I doing this? You will continue to eat ice cream because it makes you feel better while you judge yourself.
Oh, that's yeah.
Or exercise, if we used exercise, any kind of thing like that. So it's more of being curious. Why am I not exercising? Why didn't I make that sales call? Why didn't I fix my website? And listening to what is actually behind the reason why you're not, and addressing that rather than just criticizing the behavior. Getting it?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yes, of course.
Okay.
Yes. So we should not judge. Yes, we should not judge ourselves.
No judgment.
Yeah. Yes.
Be kind to yourself. Make goals and do 1% today.
Yeah, I love that. Yes, I think you've talked on this already. Like, whenever we're trying to achieve our dreams and reach our full potentials, we get so tensed. Sometimes we get this anxiety. We get so fearful that maybe we might not, reach our full potential. So I guess some tools you could share with us to break that cycle of anxiety.
how do we deal with anxiety?
Yes.
Is that what you said?
Yes.
One of the things I want to mention before I go into anxiety and depression and that kind of thing or depressive thoughts, is you are 100% you today. You are enough. You have learned enough, done enough to be able to do what you can accomplish today. And you will continue to grow. And tomorrow you might be even better, if I put that in air quotes, but you will be 100% you.
Yeah.
You are only not enough if you tried to be me.
Yeah.
It's when we try to be somebody else that I'm never enough. But how can I not be 100 enough when I'm 100% Donna?
That's true.
It's only when I'm trying to compare that I feel like I'm not enough. So even comparing yourself to another podcast, anytime we do that, you are always going to compare your weaknesses to their strengths.
That's true.
And so it never works. Comparison kills. It never causes growth. It always kills. It always deters growth. And so just be you in the way your podcast is and what you feel like you should do, and don't compare to anyone else. As far as anxiety goes, again, where are your thoughts focused? Anxiety starts with thoughts. If you are thinking and worrying about things not going well, messing up, failing, whatever it is, we will get anxious. It's picturing it not working. This is very simplified, but I work with people to change what's going on in their brain so that it doesn't keep happening, on how their brain is actually processing information. But this is the basis, is choose what thoughts you're thinking. The way you change your thoughts are the words you're speaking.
Yes. So we should focus on speaking positive words, and that way we change the way we think and what we think about.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And is this the way we could turn our fears into excitement also?
Yes.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, you start to not be afraid and start being excited for the future. Instead of focusing on what bad might happen, you start getting excited about what good's going to happen. So yes.
Yes, I love that. So you shared a lot already, but I would love to know how we could live and love vibrantly. Yes, I know everything you've shared already leads to this basically, but are there like some more things we could do in order to live and love vibrantly?
You want me to give you like a magic booth you can step in and you can step out and you're all vibrant?
Exactly. If that exists or if that's possible, yes, why not?
Someone said to me, I think it was last year, Donna, when they heard my story and all the pain and really, really the wrongness, Donna, you are a walking miracle. And I smiled and I thanked them. And then I thought, this miracle, talking about myself, was one decision, one thought, one choice after another.
Yeah.
And that is the way you live vibrantly. It's the little choices. It's the choices to get up and exercise, if you want to say that. It's the choices to read my devotionals. It's the choices to choose my declarations when I'm saying I'm amazing and I feel like crap. Which is not true today. But it's like choosing to speak words that I believe and want to be, as opposed to just how I feel. It's easy to talk about the negative, but it takes faith. It takes belief to be able to talk about what you want instead. And those are the basis of living vibrantly. It's the little bitty choices every day that you make to create a life that's vibrant.
Yeah, well, I love that. As in just taking those little steps, baby steps, like you said, and having faith that you get that life that you've always dreamt about, basically, and that life that you want, and the life that you deserve. Also, you get it by faith. Yeah.
Yes.
So Donna, I know you are an ordained minister, and from your experience as being an ordained minister, I would love you to educate me a little bit on how we could develop our spiritual intelligence. How can we do that?
You ask questions that don't have easy answers, which are good questions, but how can we increase our spiritual intelligence? And the first step is doing an inventory or an assessment of where you are. Where do you feel like you are in your spiritual intelligence, in your spiritual life? And making also a determination of kind of having some kind of idea where you want it to be, and then getting help in that area. It isn't something that we can generally super do by ourselves. And so I support people on where they are in their journey with that. But everything flows from the spirit. Everything comes from the spirit. And so my spiritual health is going to determine everything else in my life. We think that if we change the outside circumstances, then I'll be all right on the inside. That's why a new car or a new this or a new that doesn't fix it. It's having to deal with what's going on the inside first. That changes what's going on in my world.
Oh, that's beautiful. So we have to take note of how our spiritual health is, and then look for the ways to improve it. And that way we develop it also. Yes. Wow, lovely. Thank you so much, Donna. I really appreciate everything I've learned from you so far. And this makes me so excited about your podcast and other resources that are out there. So can you tell us about, your podcast? It's titled "You Are Designed for Greatness" podcast. And can you also tell me about, the other resources that people could, gain from also?
Well, as I said, there are free books and things, other resources on my website, and it's the letter I, vibrantliving.com. So that is available. My podcast is on all of the platforms. It's called You Were Designed for Greatness, and it is stories, strategies, and tips of overcoming life adversities. It is inspirational. It is encouraging, and all kinds of knowledge and wisdom. And it's all from women. Where they are sharing their stories and what they have overcome and how they did it.
Yeah. Wow, that's beautiful. I encourage everyone out there to, listen to the podcast. As you said already, as Donna said already, it's available on all platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you want to listen to podcasts, you'll find it there. And yeah, you have a lot of guests that come up and share their stories, and just different episodes filled with a lot of inspiration and wonderful stories. So it's going to be available. It's also on your on your websites. The podcast is also there. So further information could be found on iVibrantLiving.com also. Yes, great. So what's the best way to connect and work with you for those who have listened to this episode right now up to this moment and are still, eager to ask more questions, more than I've asked in this episode? What's the best way to connect with you and work with you?
The next best step would be to schedule a consultation. It is free. It is on my website. It is under the tab that says schedule now.
Yeah.
And so you can click on that and schedule a consultation with me, and we can talk further. And if I don't personally have the resources that you need to take you to wherever you're wanting to go, I'll connect you with somebody who is.
Oh, that's brilliant. Thank you so much, Donna. I really appreciate everything you taught me in this episode, how to live a much more vibrant life, how to, make use of my positive affirmations, my words, and also how to change my life, basically. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. It has been a joy.